The world won't understand you. Hey, but it's okay. Said the world won't understand you, 'cause I made you in my own way. Said the world won't understand you.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 20 of In a Good Way podcast. Today's guest is my friend Josh Garcia. Josh also does stand-up comedy. He's a photographer, videographer. How do you say it?
Videographer, you said.
Okay,
yeah.
videographer. Okay, I said videographer. Okay, videographer. And yeah, we're gonna
to
talk.
Be fair.
Huh?
Sorry, go on.
No,
to
go
be
ahead.
fair, I haven't done stand-up in like a year or since COVID, really.
Well, you know.
But who cares? I have done it though. That's the point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, and I've seen you, so it was good. Yeah. So, you know,
Thanks.
not to. Yeah, I don't want to say nothing negative about anyone, just in case they're watching this. Anybody, but you know, not everybody does good with stand-up. So, you know, you earned the title.
I've had a lot of shitty sets.
Yeah.
People not laughing.
But there's actually at least you did it enough to get better. You know what I mean? So.
Well, I started learning each time. I know we're not talking about comedy here, but I fucking already on the subject.
Yeah.
Every time I would bomb, I would figure out why I bombed and then just try it again. And then eventually, it doesn't always work, but you get better at it, I guess, delivering it.
Yeah, no, see, and that's a good thing for everything in life, really. Like, if you just do it and then you bomb and you quit, well, you don't get better, right? So, you know, that's good advice.
That should maybe want to quit.
Oh, what? When
I keep forgetting there's a delay here. Sorry.
Oh, I don't have a delay. No, I don't hear a delay.
Oh, I thought you did.
No.
We're fucking two newscasters and shit.
Yeah, no, it's just
we got Omar on the scene. What's going on out there, Omar? Just reminded me of that, but.
No, it's
delay.
Yeah, no,
they do this thing. Well, Omar, we were standing outside. They always have that delay. I'm sorry, dude. Go on.
No. It's because it's just that, right? The you know, with podcasts, obviously, it's not talking over each other. That's it. So, you know, right. but yeah, when we're talking, it's, you know, it's like that's how real people talk, anyways, usually, right? So
real shit, yeah.
Yeah. So it's fine. Yeah. So first off, I guess since we're gonna talk about the spiritual stuff, I wanted to ask you about, you know, I actually think it's funny because I think like our relationship is a funny one to me, right? Because
most of mine are.
Huh?
Most of mine are, yeah, with people.
Yeah. No, because when I met you too, it was like we met at school. You know, I was taking what was it like? I know
acting class.
The acting for the camera or just a theater class?
That I can't remember because I took both classes.
Okay.
I know. I only had you for one of them, and I can't remember which one it was.
Oh, maybe it was the acting for the camera then. Maybe.
I think it was that one.
Was it the one where the professor?
Crockman.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, then was that one?
Dennis, right, or something?
Dennis Crockman.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was for that class. So did I help you? Because I remember I helped you for a video. Was it for that class or for another project?
No, I helped you with the music video once.
Yeah. No,
but
then at school, I helped you for like the drunk.
Oh, that drunk Jehovah's Witness thing that I made. I had to like make some kind of like I don't remember, 3-minute film, but we couldn't talk. There couldn't be any lines, but it still had to convey a story. That was why you never had any lines in it.
Yeah, but that was for that class. No, it wasn't, right?
No, it wasn't for that class. That was for the RTV program, like the TV broadcasting program.
Oh, okay.
Which the acting thing's not a part of it.
All right. Well, we'll get because I know we're all going off into these other things, but
yeah, who cares?
No, I know. Fun. Yeah, that's true. But
we'll get there.
Yeah, like what I was gonna say was like, so like we had met at school, and as far as like, no, I think it's interesting. Well, when it comes to the spiritual stuff, right? Because when I met you, you were like, I guess, a hardcore atheist, right? And for me, I feel like, I mean, and that could be just be my person. It's not a competition to me, but I felt like, to me, as far as anyone I know, I felt like I know personally, not just like people on TV or something. I felt like I'm one of the people that believe in God more than like anybody, right? Or creator, God, whatever. But yet, like that didn't really affect anything, right? And I think you know, the reason I'm bringing that up is because I'm gonna get to that later, right? About like things that you've had to deal with as far as like judgmental people, right? Like it didn't even matter, right? Like we're so opposite, right? Like in that when I met you, right? Like you're a hardcore atheist, like I don't believe in nothing, and I was like this, but I guess it never really even came up. Like I even feel we're talking about it because we've never really even talked about that. Like
no, not really. Well, I don't know so associate as an atheist anymore. I stopped that a long time ago.
no, I know, yeah, but I'm just saying to when I met you. So yeah, since I was gonna ask you about like spiritual things, right? The reason I was bringing that up was because I was gonna ask you. So if you don't mind, if you don't want to talk about it, it's fine. But like, what made you want to be an atheist, or what made you say like, okay, I'm an atheist? Like what?
Well,
What was it?
I was never really raised religious. Like I was raised by my mom's side of the family. Like my grandmother was like a Catholic, like sort of. Never took it serious. Like, but my dad's side of the family was like hyper Christian, and I say Christian because there's a lot of hypocrisy in those people. I don't care if this is out there. I just don't. I was gonna say. I just started questioning it really early on. Like it just seemed silly to me from a very early age. Like some of I could just see like people telling me to do one. I remember the first thing I started questioning was I remember them teaching us about like thou shalt not kill, like that was a sin, and I was trying to take the shit serious, like being a Christian. I might have been around 12 years old, but then I remember like the Iraq War was going on, and then in my head I was conflicted. I was like, wait, like if we can't kill, but some of these people are Christians and they're killing in this war, how does that work? And I was asking like my grandmother. I was just like confused, like how does that work if it's a sin? But these people are saying they're Christians and they're gonna kill people. That was the first time like I noted like it triggered something in me. And then it's like some of the people I went to church with, like from my dad's side of the family, they would be really nice to each other in front of each other. Then we'd get back, and then the shit talking would start. And I don't know. I don't know. I just find the whole thing bizarre, and I just really never. I started learning about like the history of like Horus, Osiris, those goddesses, and their stories are very identical to Jesus' story. However, they were prior.
Yeah.
So I was just piecing things together. I was getting older. That I'm not. Well, now I don't know if there's a God or not. I'm in the agnostic camp, but yeah. Well, because to say like when I got older, I realized the reason why I stopped associating with atheism because I was like, well, to say that I know for sure there isn't a God, it's the same thing as someone saying I know for sure there is a God. So I was like, well, that's not fair because you really don't know, which I was talking to myself.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, but I digress.
No, and I was gonna lead up to that because I remember.
By the way, I just want to say I don't think all Christians do this. It just happened to be my experience with Christianity from an early age, and I don't believe Jesus was the Son of God from a young age. I just didn't believe it. Like, because I realized there was other religions too. That was another thing. And then I remember thinking one time when I was younger, like, well, because I was Christian at the time, like, if we're right, that means everybody else is wrong. And then I remember thinking, but aren't they thinking the same exact thing? Like, they're right and everybody else is wrong. And I was like, so then who really is right? Like, that question jumped in my head at like 13 or around that age.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. That's profound. That's
I just started questioning it a lot. That's really what started peeling back the layers of like in learning the history of like not just Christianity, other religions, like how they began. It's fascinating to me. Like Christianity branched off from Judaism. So it was kind of like the shit that still happens today. Like Mormonism branched off from Christianity. Like these sect groups start happening from religions like Buddhism, from Hinduism. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Like
yeah, of course, yeah.
They just splinter off into different. And so when I started learning that, I was like, oh, this is just one of those situations. In my view, it was just like this is just a really successful one because it's still here.
Yeah, no, well, and since you said that, like successful, I kind of didn't want to jump ahead, but it's like, for example,
we don't have to keep pattern. Let's just keep it loose.
No, well, it so that way it just goes, smoothly, right? Like, because I learned,
I'm just
like,
giving you a hard time, dude.
No, I know it's all good, but like, for example, shit, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
What were you saying? You were talking about oh yeah.
Well,
About
right.
damn, I forgot. Forget it. Just go ahead.
Well, I was talking about how like religions fracture off into different like religions, and they still do that today. Like Mormonism or Christianity, in my view, was like one that splintered off, like it fractured off from Judaism. It was far successful because it's still here.
Oh, there you
And
go. Okay, there. Well, okay.
I
Hold
had a
that
feeling
thought.
if I said that, it might bring you back to that thought.
Yeah, because they're
Repeat
still
yourself,
here.
sorry.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so people don't realize, it's funny because I was thinking about this movie. Like there's this movie where there's this part. I love it, right? Like I even posted it once. I think it was like I don't know who the actors are, right? But Sean Penn is like the husband and then the wife. And it's supposed to be based on a true story of this CIA operative that I think she was exposing stuff and they all turned on her, right? And they started a whole slander campaign. They slandered her all over the news, so she's a CIA operative. But then once like she went against them, the US government, like they unleashed hell on her, right? They started clowning her like on the news, on everything. And so there's a scene where Sean Penn, that's the husband, he started like, I guess she wanted to give up. She's like, you know what, fine, I can't beat them. Like it's the US government, endless resources, I can't win. And then he starts yelling at her. And then like he's trying to make a point. He's yelling at her and he's all, just because I'm yelling louder, does that make me right? And he's like going off on her and she's like, oh, and then it clicks like, yeah, just because someone has the loud voice doesn't mean that they're right. And real quick, hold on, because I see that you want to say something, but it's
No,
like,
I don't. I'm listening.
oh, okay. No, so then that went like with the experience with Christianity. Like, see, like I think one thing too I saw in you was you experienced things that I experienced. Like when I started being around more the native culture, like all the Christian friends, I think at that point I probably, because I was around the church stuff a lot, I probably had like 70 to 80% of my friends identified as Christian. So once I started going to the native thing and it made way more sense to me, they started kind of like, like, oh, that's of the devil kind of thing, like they started really like getting to me because it is like psychological, right? Like you can only take so much, huh?
It's indoctrination.
Yeah, but I'm
I think
saying to push on someone, you can only take so much, right? Like, if I keep pushing my views on you, you can only take so much. But see, to them, it's almost like just because they were able to murder like 40 million native people, they feel that they're right. You see how you were talking about the thou shalt not kill. When it comes to that, imagine. So just because you were able to wipe out, a worse Holocaust than what even happened to Jewish people, like this, the fact that almost 40 million or more, I think it was close to 100 million actually. I'm thinking more just like Mexico, right? But even all together, indigenous peoples from South America all the way to North America, it was like 100 million indigenous people were wiped out. Just because you have the louder voice and you're still around doesn't mean that you were right. All that just go ahead.
Someone argued with me about that too. Then why is Christianity still here? I was like, that doesn't mean it's right. It just it was just successful. You had good marketing teams. You guys did a good job there. But I mean, I find it really annoying, the proselytizing thing.
Well, it's like there's people online that I mean, they're obsessed with like Hollywood, right? They're against Hollywood. They're like, Hollywood's the most evil thing. And Hollywood, I could admit that Hollywood has affected so much, right? Like, because it even affected me watching things in movies that like negative stuff, you know what I mean? Like, I could say that, but it's around, right? So just because Hollywood was successful, you see, so that's why those same people that would say, well, then, okay, then why is that? We all know Hollywood has bad influences, and yet it's around. So it doesn't mean because it's around, it's good. You know what I mean? I don't know if I made sense with that, but I'm comparing it to like the religion thing. You know what I mean? How
it's like what somebody told me a long time ago. I won't use AOL because that's what they were talking about.
Oh, wow.
They said just because AOL was first doesn't mean they're the best.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's
obviously I don't even know if that's around. Anyways, kids, there used to be this thing called AOL in the very beginning. That's how old I'm getting.
Yeah, exactly. No, and I don't want to turn this whole interview into like a religion bashing thing, but
all right. Look,
No.
I've had
We could talk
I
about
have
it. No,
issues
go
with
ahead.
those people.
Yeah. No, feel
Uh,
free. Feel free. No, I'm just saying that so anyone watching that feels like hopefully they're getting more truth out of it as opposed to see, because maybe they'll feel at this moment how we've felt. You know what I mean? How me and
that's
you
the
want.
point I try to get across to them is like, dude, this is how you're making me feel right now. Like, you don't want to hear about the satanic shit. I already know you don't, but that's why I don't talk to you about it. And
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about the Christian stuff. And I get it because I was a Christian and it's like your duty to save people, but it just isn't.
Yeah. And
Unfortunately, what you're doing is legal, though. It's
yeah.
not illegal what you're doing. It's just annoying.
Yeah.
I find
No,
it annoying. Sorry, Christians. Not
no,
really sorry, by the way.
and you know, it's like this. Like even me, I have the. I wanted to talk about something else first, but since you mentioned the Satan, because now you're a Satanist, right?
Well, I identify as a Satanist if people ask. Which always people, it's like you worship the devil is like the real quick one.
Yeah.
No, I don't worship anything. I'm a member of the Satanic Temple. I don't know if I really actually identify. It's more funny to me just because the reaction it gets.
So explain that to me. So because you're the one that taught me that, right? Like I didn't even know there were different, I guess, factions. That's the word, factions.
Well, there's only like two different. I mean, I don't know that much in detail about it. I just know that the Church of Satan and the Satanic Temple, they're not really associated with each other. They're like two different things. I don't know much about the Church of Satan. That was Anton LaVey, I think that's his name, who started that back in the 60s, late 60s maybe. Satanic Temple started in like the late 2000s maybe.
Oh, it's that young, that recent?
Yeah. I know. I understand why people confuse the two. It's real easy to do because even I thought the same thing. Like it's the same thing, but they're not really the same thing. One's way more the Satanic Temple. It's a non-theistic religion, which means we don't believe in anything. Don't actually believe in Satan, people. Sorry to disappoint you. Don't really. I don't think the devil's real either. He's just basically our mascot, if that's one way you want to put it. Like how, like the way he's like a representation of the ultimate rebellion against tyranny and arbitrary authority, which is what I believe religions are. Most of them, almost all of them, have some arbitrary authority.
So you had told me before about I think you told me it was a lady that started it, right?
No, it's a guy.
Oh, it was? Okay, so when he started
He's actually a neuroscientist at Harvard, something like that.
Oh wow. So when he started it, what was his frame of mind? Like what?
Well, it was another guy. There's actually a whole documentary on this if anybody's ever seen it, called Hail Satan on Hulu. I'm not proselytizing it, and I'm not trying to get people to join the Satanic Temple. That's not what I'm doing. I'm simply just talking about it because it was fascinating. And yeah, I'm not proselytizing is what I'm saying.
No, I asked you. So
no, I thought about it right now. I was like, dude, I'm not trying to draw more people in. I'm just saying, like, it was an awesome documentary, and that's actually what got me to join, was by watching that documentary.
Oh, okay. So what was?
I didn't even know it existed. Well, it talked about how it actually even started. It was just like, it was actually kind of a joke at first, and then it just kind of escalated into this big like political movement, and a lot of it was a battle of like I think it's Nebraska, I'm pretty sure. They had the 10 Commandments on their Capitol grounds. So because we were supposed to live in a pluralistic country, more than one religion.
Yeah.
They wanted to put a Baphomet statue right next to the 10 Commandments to show that this is a pluralistic society, more than one religion. That's Baphomet, if people don't know. Pagan god. Anyways. Always confused for Satan. So obviously the state said no. Like, like the governor was like, hell no. Like, but then so they kept fighting back because they were actually playing by the rules of the law. Like the leader of Satanic Temple said, we're giving them a civics lesson. Because he was saying, why not put Buddha there too? Why not put I don't know what the Muslims call their symbol, the half moon with the star. Whatever, I don't know what it's called. But why is it always, basically the question was, why is it only always Christianity that gets to like sit up on top of like government property? And what a lot of people don't know is like those 10 Commandment things that were put on the Capitol grounds, it was promotion for the movie Hollywood influencing. There it is.
What?
It was promotion for the movie Ten Commandments with
The
Charlton
old one
Heston.
with Charlton?
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh
that's why
wow.
they're there.
Wow.
Like it wasn't. It was just like a giant promotion piece for like a movie, which is it makes me laugh when I found that out.
Yeah. No, but you
Like,
know, it shows no, like one thing a lot of people don't know is like even the original Top Gun, the government had a lot to do. I mean, pretty much it was like the government with whoever made that movie. And then they said that when it came out, like there was a whole thing about it. I saw, I think on the news actually or something, but it was like enlistment went up 70% because
oh
of
yeah,
that
yeah.
movie. Yeah, so it was
I heard
successful.
about that.
Yeah, yeah. So that
Oh.
makes perfect sense that with the Ten Commandments, and that's crazy. That's crazy.
Well, it's
I
also
hadn't
like the
heard
whole
that.
thing, like the U.S. wasn't really that like gun ho Jesus as like it is now. Not that look, I don't think it's bad to be a Christian. I don't really care if you are.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm not. Uh, I don't care what you do. I'm not shitting on that. But the country wasn't really like that in the beginning. Like it started becoming that way during the communist scare, like of the Soviet Union, the Cold War. Sorry, that's when they added like "In God We Trust" on the money.
Oh,
They put in, I can't even remember. I haven't said it in so long. The Pledge of Allegiance and the under God, whatever that was
oh,
added later on too, because it wasn't always in there. Uh, they added that because if communist equals Satanist, so we're religious, we believe in God, and that's when that really started. That
mm,
giant like religious, like we're Americans and we're Christian. It started like in the late '60s. It
wow.
wasn't always a thing. I mean, there's quotes from Thomas Jefferson. I think it was him. Uh, I think yeah, he said we could. I think I'm paraphrasing now because I can't remember word for word, but it was something like we need more lighthouses than churches,
Oh,
something
wow.
like that. Basically saying that they're more important.
Yeah, yeah.
In other words, but it doesn't mean they didn't believe in God. Maybe they did, but they weren't like hyper, like sort of like how we are now. Because that's the whole thing we escaped England from. Like that was
Mm,
the whole reason we left, because religion was controlling what was going on there.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, monarchy.
that's what they said, and then
Yeah,
that's what they
right. But
use here.
to be fair, I wasn't around then, so who the fuck knows what really happened?
Yeah, yeah. No, no, but just that was the whole like the manifest destiny when they got here, and oh,
Yeah,
God gave us this land. Let's kill all the native people. That kind of stuff. Um,
yeah,
I
it's
wasn't
crazy.
around either, but I
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's oddly in some humans' behavior. I don't want to say all humans, but it's just human nature to want to control people for some fucking reason. Personally, I don't want to, but obviously there are a lot of people who do like
yeah,
want to control people.
yeah, and
Uh,
see, like one thing, like I know that you faced too was like when you did put up things of like like being Satanist when you joined there were people that would tell you like, oh, if you don't take that down from your social media, they would stop being your friend, right? Or stuff like that.
I have one person in particular I grew up with that like she later literally said, "If you don't take this down, then we're no longer friends." So I messaged her back. I was like, "I guess we're no longer friends. It's been fun."
Wow.
And
Yeah.
here's the thing. Well, I did explain to her. I said I would never ask you to take down. I have never asked you one time to take down a picture of a cross or all the quotes from Psalms that she puts up.
Mm,
Never said anything about it. Just ignore it. Like I mean, it's crazy. Like it goes back to control again.
yeah.
Like well, nope, that's not the narrative I want to see.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So
and I
then
went through
leave.
this. No, and I went through the same
Yeah.
thing like with a friend that I knew from 20 years, a girl that I had, we were friends for like 10 years because of that, like when because of the native thing. Like when I started going around and oh, like every time I would mention or they would hear like a song I did that mentioned native stuff, they're like, oh, what's the what are you talking about? And this and that. And they would be like to them, that was the devil, you know what I mean? Um,
The
but
devil. It's so funny.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
So, just that people really think it's real, the devil. But anyways, that's a
No,
whole nother thing.
but just the amount of like that, how it's stuck in there, like people can't think for themselves. But even that, right? Like I think, like for example, like you know, like I think before too, I would have had that. I would have had that. I would have had that. that mindset, right? Because when I was around Christianity a lot, I would have probably been like, oh, a Satanist, like, you know. But I guess even that's a humbling experience. Like, you know, like me and you were friends, and like that. Like sometimes you would ask me help you with a video. Sometimes I would ask you help me with a video. So we were just friends. Aside from all that stuff, we were able to be friends. And even that, right? Imagine me saying, oh, you're not my friend. And out of, like, even when my brother's funeral, right? Out of all my friends, only you and this other friend went, right? Out of all the people. So imagine someone saying, oh, this person's a Satanist, don't talk to them or something. Like, you know, like to me, I think judging someone by their character, like, damn, if that ain't the most important thing in life, then, you know what I'm saying? Like, just by, I don't give a like crap what you are, this, that, you know what I'm saying?
That's very like cult-like behavior when you be like, well, they don't agree with us, so therefore don't talk to them.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's
go ahead.
It's just crazy because like I'm still friends with like a lot of Christian people. I have a huge Muslim clientele, but I don't care what you believe in, but it's like it is funny when I put up this flag, people all of a sudden, well, Muslims don't really seem to care, but you know, Christians, Catholics, they just like, some of them are quick to not want to talk to me or work with me, which I don't care. Like I recently had an incident where someone wouldn't hire me unless I took down the Satanic Temple thing, and I just said it looks like she was trying to argue I can make more money, and I said some things were more important than money to me, and I'm not. You're asking me to change a personal belief, and I'm not going to do it because, like I said prior to my other friend, I've never asked a client or you to take down Christianity crosses or whatever you believe in. So it's just kind of funny that I remember somebody was like, well, why do you guys choose Satan? Like, why, you know, why that? I was like, well, what else? Or why call it that? They were saying the Satanic Temple. It's like, dude, there's like nothing else to call it. It's like the best thing to call it. And besides, because religious people get mad at me for like we didn't come up with this concept of like the devil and the way it looks. You came up with it. We just adopted it.
So why did they start using the Baphomet to represent Satan? Like how you said, it's not the same thing. So why did they? No. Who came up with that?
I know that some kind of a French author, I believe, drew up this version of it. There was never really a picture of Baphomet because he was a pagan. She wasn't really any sex. And it was supposed to represent like that reason it has a goat head, tits, and a male arms or whatever, goat legs. It's supposed to represent like all like creatures on earth and humankind, like everything wrapped into one, basically. And he was a pagan god. So pagan, not Christian, therefore devil. Like, you know, it's the same thing you're talking about with the native things. It's the same concept. Like, so therefore Baphomet's the devil. And then in the 1800s, some French artist drew up this, and because there never was like a picture of it or anything, just like talking or sayings, I think, or written down shit, I think.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I wonder, like when, you know, like when they killed like, I don't know, 1 million women and said they were witches, right? Or all that stuff in the name of religion. I wonder if maybe they use the same. I know the pentagram has been around for, I guess, for longer than, I don't know. I don't know when it wasn't around, I guess.
I don't know either, but it's.
But yeah, I wonder if they were using those kind of symbols and then they said, well, that's the devil, just because, you know, it's funny because it's always like an excuse to murder people, right? It's like, well, the women, they like how you said, it's not this, so it's evil. So let's murder them. You know what I mean? So
that's not even a religious thing. It's just human beings being like tribalism. Like, it's not with our tribe, kill it. It's really easy to get wrapped into like tribalism. I mean, I do it all the time. Stomach hungry. It was growling. I don't know if you heard that.
Oh no, because I think mine was growling too.
It was like,
that's funny,
man, I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
No, but there is a lot of misconceptions with like the satanic thing. I like people who get it. Like, I have Christian friends that get what I'm doing. It is a bit contrarian, yes. But it's kind of funny because people like think like I'm evil and I'm a horrible human being. Maybe I've done bad things in my life, of course, but overall, I don't think I'm a bad guy. It's like what you said. It's like it's real easy when I do put this up to like look past my character. And just look right at a T-shirt or something.
No, but
also,
like,
to get back, Christmas tree. Christmas tree also pagan.
Oh, really?
I guess Christians just like that one. We'll keep that one.
That's funny. No, I think I had heard something about that. Yeah.
It is a pagan symbol.
Well, there's so many things. Even like the days of the week are all based on like, what was it, the Roman gods or something like Jupiter? Yeah,
that's out of my
Saturn is.
knowledge.
Yeah, Saturn is Saturday.
Oh, I do remember
like,
this. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's so really everything. I mean, that's why it's funny. Like there's so much. Well, now finally, like there's Christian people that finally started saying that Easter was like, that's why they even use the rabbits, because it all had to do with sex, like fertilization. That it was all about like, I guess they say Ishtar was the goddess of fertilization, and that's what the whole rabbits and the eggs. So it's like even that whole holiday, so it's always changing. It's like first it's celebrated, then now in modern times they're saying it's evil and this, but it's like split.
It's just human life. It just seems to do that. Like it goes like waves, like in everything, every faction of how we live.
Yeah, no
waves. Like
and like go ahead.
I was just thinking like even like I forgot what I was gonna say. I'm sorry. You smoked a little weed. So I'm a little slow. I'm here, but I'm fuzzy.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Chappelle would say. Yeah.
Well, then, since on that note, since you said you're fuzzy and all that, well, let's talk about like I know. See, at one point too, when I noticed like a change too, where you started, I guess, like how you went from hardcore atheist to like, oh, maybe I don't know this and that. I don't know if it was just when you were smoking weed, but I remember too you telling me about like when you did mushrooms, right? I don't know how many times, but I know you had a really profound experience, at least one time that I could remember. And I don't know, like if you don't mind sharing about that.
I've done mushrooms 3 times, not a lot, but that was fair. And the first time was this year. I never touched them. Oh man, I hate to do this, but can we like pause real quick? I gotta really use the restroom. All right, back for my pee break. So
okay, all right. So yeah. So you were gonna tell me about the mushroom experiences or experience. I don't know which, if all of them were profound or just that one like that you told me that you had a Joshua tree.
No, not all of them were profound. Well, I had, because I was in Joshua Tree for the weekend, so the two of the mushroom trips happened that weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, one later on, like down the road.
Oh.
The first one was super profound. That's not what like pulled me into like being agnostic, by the way. It wasn't this profound experience, but definitely helped.
Oh no, yeah. No, I don't know which one it was exactly, but I remember now something else. But go ahead. You talk about it.
I'm already doing like at first, like, because I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that've done shrooms, but that was my first time. So we went out in Joshua Tree. We're in the middle of the desert. Like, there's nobody around, just 3 of us in a tent. And so that was kind of cool already, even before we started doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But as it kicked in, I remember like I was laying on the dirt, which is just kind of like sand almost, like rocky. But it started moving in waves, so that's how it began.
Oh wow!
But later on, like, I'll skip past a lot of it because there's a lot in the story.
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I do remember that's how it started. Like, remember, I'd never done shrooms, and the ground basically looked like water, like almost like water, like it was moving, and I was like laying in it, like dirty as fuck. I didn't care. It was like I was like, wow, this is. I had the craziest feeling when I dug my hand into the dirt. It literally felt like I know this is gonna sound hippie or whatever the fuck you think. Can I cuss on this? Sorry.
Yeah. Well, you've already been cut. It's all good.
I forget, dude. Like, because
no, we're good. I think I cussed too. I think I ended up cussing. No, but go ahead. Explain. Go ahead. Say it.
All right. So I remember when I dug my I'm tripping on shrooms. I dug my hand in underneath the dirt and stuff. It literally felt like I had some kind of like connection to nature all of a sudden. Like it like almost like I said, it's gonna sound hippie or whatever you think it sounds like, but it like almost to the point of like bringing like a happy like tear to my eye, like that I was touching the ground and the earth, and like it was crazy. It was like that's not even the most profound part of this experience. That's just how it began.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I just remember like being like, I don't know why I'm feeling so like wow right now just by touching the dirt. I know because from the outside you're only on shrooms. Damn. But that feeling was incredible, like feeling like I was touching nature again. Like I felt like I kind of like plugged back into it in a weird way, like that I hadn't in years because I live in the city.
Yeah.
But from there, I started. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Well, I was just gonna say, like, it doesn't sound weird to me because I'm someone that actually has hugged trees and felt, yeah, sober. I've done that sober, and I felt, the first time, I don't know who I heard or what, just probably being around more like the native culture and everything. And one day I was just in nature, hugged the tree, and I probably felt like similar to way like I felt amazing, and I smiled, and I was like, what the hell? So that's what I'm just saying, like, just to let you know, probably nothing
Yeah.
you say is gonna sound weird to me. So I want you to go ahead and explain like with detail. So go ahead.
All right. I didn't. It just felt like emotional. That's all. Like
Yeah.
it was kind of like I was touching an old friend that I hadn't in a really long time. Uh,
Wow.
in the legal way, not the Me Too way. But I was touching Mother Nature that way.
Yeah.
uh, but later on, like, 'cause there's three of us, my cousin and my friend Amanda, but we were all kind of wandering the desert doing our own thing. And as I was wandering, I kept hearing like the sounds of the dirt, the crunching sounds, like,
Yeah.
and it just kept. That's all you could hear because we're in the middle of the desert and it's fucking silent. So I just kept hearing that over and over and over and over, and I went into this trance, and everything turned white, like just went bright white. And then I just, my vision came back, and I was staring at this giant, like, not a mountain because we're in Joshua Tree, giant hill with giant rocks everywhere, and it just looked really pretty because the sun was like falling behind it, and then it was so fucking quiet, like you could hear a pin drop, like there was no wind or nothing, no cars, nothing, you couldn't hear shit. And then all of a sudden, like my brain, like I just started laughing and crying because like I felt this flood of like love, and like it was almost like I saw God. I don't even know how to explain it. It's too fucking hard to explain. Like but then like I felt like my ego was like starting to like just dissipate. Like everything that I'm egotistical about was starting to come to realization to me, like why I'm like always manic and like I'm always like on edge all the fucking time. And then I remember me saying to myself, "It's silence. Like, do you hear the silence?" And I was like, the noise is gone. Like all the noise in my head, the chatter that's constantly keeping me like like, it was just gone. And then I was like, dude, all I needed to hear was nothing at all. Like to just hear absolutely silence, and it just like all that, constant chatter in my brain just for that moment, anyways, it came back, but it was gone. But it helped me realize like what it was. It was just a lot of noise that I was creating myself. So I create my own anxiety all the time. And that's what it was trying to show, in my eyes, I think, is what it was trying to show me. That this is where this problem is coming from. Also, you got an ego the size of a fucking cantaloupe or whatever. And you got to deal with that too, because it's like not helping. I don't feel like I finished that journey. Like they call it like an ego dissipating or something like that, ego dissolve, because I'm not mad at my cousin or anything, but like I was going through this whole experience, he kind of interrupted it to ask me a question.
Oh wow.
And so I never felt like I finished it, but it was, oh man, I really wish I could explain this to people, but it's so hard to explain like how beautiful a moment that was. I mean, I was crying, like first time in my life I was crying like tears of joy, like literally. Like I never understood that growing up. I was like, how the fuck can you be that happy? But I was never happy growing up. So that was the first time it happened to me. Like I could not stop laughing and crying. I kept saying to myself, it was just all it was just noise. It was just noise in my head. Like that was bothering me. It's just noise. Because going in the desert where it's just silence, it gave me the opportunity to like really recognize that. I don't know how to explain it. It sounds kind of weird, I'm sure, to some people, but it's very hard. If you've never done shrooms, it's hard to explain.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. I know the silence you're talking about because I heard that once, and like you said, it was actually in the desert, but like close to San Diego. I remember the silence was so weird. The silence was so crazy. It actually was weird, right? Like when you're not used to that, like it's just weird to hear things that are that quiet. But
I went to Death Valley and it was even quieter than where I was at in Joshua Tree.
Oh wow.
If that was even possible, but it was, because like it was literally so quiet. Like I understood the meaning of what do you call it?
Dead silence.
Dead silence, like our deafening silence.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it sounded like you were deaf, like you couldn't hear anything, but there just was nothing there to make noise other than you.
Yeah.
Anyways,
No, no, no.
this has been a great sound podcast. We'll talk next about
Yeah, no.
about subwoofers and how they can improve your music.
No, it's no, that experience is because like it's funny because even this month I guess is what do they say, like mental awareness or something, or
Oh, is that this month?
mental health or something, mental health
Okay,
awareness.
that's why.
No,
Mental health award.
but you made me think about that, like about how, like, yeah, I guess if everyone did mushrooms, they would probably I think I seen a documentary about that, and they were even talking about how people that had PTSD and doing mushrooms would help them, like, and not to say anything against people that are therapists or anything like that, but like how things that therapy couldn't even solve, like, doing mushrooms would like how you had this crazy profound experience, like you said, that you hadn't felt since you were a kid, or
No, I had never felt like that
or
ever
never.
in my
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
No, my childhood sucked. I wasn't fine. I was rarely happy as a child, rarely happy as an adult. But it was just like I felt that like I'm so happy that I'm crying joy. And like I used to think that wasn't a real thing. Like I was like, who the fuck was ever that happy or joyful? I remember I used to think that when I was little, even as an adult. Well, I didn't think it was fake. I just thought it was kind of rare, I guess. Or I'd never felt that kind of joy until that moment.
So having
But I do
experience. Go ahead.
go.
No,
I do
go.
remember realizing at that moment everything that was giving me anxiety and freaking me out. I remember at that moment realizing that because I started laughing because I realized it wasn't important. Like it didn't matter in the grander scheme of life, or however you say that. But I just remember repeating that to my, like, it doesn't matter. Like none of this stuff matters. Like it really doesn't matter. Like that doesn't mean like I became nihilistic. I just meant like I started thinking like at the end of my life, none of that stuff's gonna matter. Like I'm not gonna be thinking about it. It's gonna be completely out of my head. The only thing I hope to be thinking about is the good memories I created.
Yeah.
Which my life has been more focused on that than money for the first time ever. Broke that cycle. I used to be like materialistic, like hardcore at a younger age. Like everything's about money. But I was conditioned to believe that, like most of us were.
And did that have to do with the change, or you were already changing even before that?
I was already changing before that because I was just realizing kind of how, like, when I started talking to people, like I had a friend from Sweden. When I started talking to him about like the way other countries do things and realize that's more of a just a U.S. kind of thing. Well, every country does it. Don't get me wrong, but we take it to like an extreme, like having to have a new car every 10 years or whatever. Yeah. I remember this Irish guy told me that. This Irish dude was like, "That's crazy that you guys do that." Yeah. He's like, "Why don't you just keep the one that you have?" And it was just little things like that. And I'm like, "Huh, that is, yeah. Why do we do that? I don't need to keep buying a new car every however many years."
Yeah, no, and it's
crazy.
But it's all about making money. Like I remember even when I had this car, I mean, at least I drove.
That's just one example, by the way, the car thing.
Yeah. Sorry, definitely. Go on. No, just real quick. Like when I had my car, everyone kept telling me, "When are you gonna get a new car?" And I had no bills, like just the peace of mind from not having no car payment, no nothing. It still ran. It was falling, like it finally, like I drove it to the ground, and like when I sold it, this guy bought it from me for like $400. That's how much it was. Damn. Like, but I had that peace of mind. Like I loved not having to worry about making car payments. I always had money in my pocket to do other things, go here, go there. Yeah, the car was like, sometimes I'd have to repair it, like, oh, this messed up, but it didn't compare still to what a car payment would have been like on a new car. So I was okay. But that, like, yeah, everyone, even people that were broke, because I remember I even had a friend that bought a brand new car. No, they bought a brand new car. Oh. And the payments were so damn expensive, and this person was broke. Like they barely had money for rent, for everything, but they bought a brand new car. And they would tell me too, like, "Oh, when are you gonna get a new car? This and that." And it's like, damn, I have peace of mind. Like, you're over here stressing. I never see you not stressing about money. And so it's perfect. Like what you were saying is 100% true. Like this country is definitely, I don't know how other countries are, but I would say this one definitely has that about being materialistic, you know, or that.
Well, yeah, I brought up by people, or well, my child was complicated, but the people who like most raised me the most, they were hardcore materialistic.
Mm.
And that was like really engraved in our head that money was everything, and like, you know, material possessions were everything. I didn't come from a family that was really hugging and loving, like, but because just money was more important, and I
Oh,
felt that way all the way up to my 30s. That's when it began to change, when I got 30 years old,
oh,
and then realized how, I don't know, I just didn't care anymore to play the game of like keeping up with the Jones type of thing. Because like your friend, I had like really nice cars, but I was always fucking broke. Like,
uh,
it's not like I could go anywhere or do anything because they were expensive to pay for.
yeah, yeah,
And I mean, the reality is I wanted it because I was young and like girls think I'm cool because I have a nice car and like people are gonna like. But I still didn't have any money. And like when people say like because somebody was earlier this week was telling me to buy a new car, like I should. And I was like, what
Oh,
for?
someone
They
was
was like,
telling you that?
yeah, like I should because I own this one. I was like, that's dumb. I was like, I don't want to do that. Then I'm like, now I got another huge bill.
Yeah,
And then I never wanted to do that when I was younger, like working in warehouses and stuff, because my thought was like, dude, but if I do that, I'm trapped in this job. Like then I can't leave. Like I literally can't leave. So I always liked having like my older, shittier car because at any moment I could just go. I'm not tied to like this payment.
yeah,
So I never liked the idea of working uh, in a place I don't like but I have to. Like it's through fear, kind of like I don't. If I lose my job, I'm gonna lose this and that and that. So, and I did live that way for a long time. And like every day, I was just fearful of losing my job. If I do, I'm gonna lose like where I was staying or living, whatever, X,
yeah.
Y, and Z. And I don't know how I got on that tangent, but oh, I was talking about materialism.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh, yeah, just because my life started to change. The mushroom thing really helped on that because it really highlighted how unimportant that shit is.
In that moment, that's funny. See, so in that moment,
Yeah,
everything makes sense. And see, I've heard people experience that with you know, other like, you know, because they're medicines, right? Like to indigenous people, and that's where they came from, like their medicine, right? Like, you know, the peyote,
yeah.
the, you know, the mushrooms,
The
the
mushroom thing started in
ayahuasca.
Mexico.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
mushrooms came from Mexico too. That's what they say.
I believe they came like from, it was like a woman in Mexico who started doing that, like the whole shrooming thing or figuring out
Mm.
uh, psilocybin. Don't quote me on that, but pretty sure that it was from Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I know. Like from
Yeah.
what I know, I would have thought like it's already been passed on, like probably thousands of years of indigenous people knowing, just because they know, they
Well,
just
no,
know everything.
I think that's the case, but I think it started in Mexico.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
oh no, I'm wrong about that because the thing I saw about the woman that started in Mexico, that was like way later, like after
Oh,
indigenous people.
yeah. Well, it's kind of like there's this you know, that guy Dr. Sabi. You know, he's I
I
don't
don't
know
know
if
who it
he
is.
goes by being African or African American, right? But he was a doctor that I mean, he's very well known. Like I think, you know, the Nipsey Hussle, the one that got murdered, like he was even gonna do like a
Yeah, yeah.
whole documentary about him. Like they were trying to put it together. I don't know if it ever came out, but you know, he started learning all about the herbal stuff. He actually beat, I think the US government tried to put him in jail for making false claims that he had cured like diabetes, herpes, AIDS. No, and so he brought like all the witnesses and he beat the case. So see, we don't all hear about that, but imagine, so here's this guy that the government came against it, like, oh, you're making false claims, and he beat them. So they were trying to lock him up, everything, but he gave credit to learning from, I think, shamans in Mexico. So he said it, like he actually gave credit to that he had learned from, like, you know, I guess medicine men or shamans from Mexico. See, so I mean, that's how it is. It's passed down, right? Like a lot of times we don't
Yeah.
really know where, because people don't really know that. Like I've only heard a few people mention that how he gave credit to you know, people in Mexico, like, you know, the indigenous people in Mexico, whoever he learned from, medicine man, shaman. So a lot of times people don't know where it comes from. I mean, it matters, but it doesn't, I guess. But it does matter. You know, it's
Yeah,
good
it
to know.
matters to like an extent, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's good to give credit to, like, I think it feels like it made me feel good to know that this guy that's so revered, learned from like, people like, that's my motherland. So I was like, yeah, from, you learn from the motherland because they don't give us credit, right? Like for so much knowledge, right? Because it's like that, basically like that. Like living in such a materialistic society and not giving credit to people that have all this knowledge, right?
Right.
Like things might
I
have
mean,
been bad. Like everyone would have been doing mushrooms and everyone would have been happier,
I know I always quote him, but Joe Rogan says that a lot too. If the
Oh,
whole world
really?
did if the whole world did mushrooms, things would just get better or
That's
something like that
funny.
to that
That's
effect.
funny.
Which
Yeah.
is probably true, but we live in a country like an episode of South Park was like a good example of this, where they just kept screaming buy 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 sell 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 buy buy, like basically
Oh, wow.
saying that's America. Like, but they were showing
Yeah.
they're showing real clips of people shopping, drinking, shopping, and drinking. That was just happening all fast, and I was like, dude, that's so true. Like we do live like that, like it's constantly just commercials, buy 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 buy.
Yeah. No, and it's like it's funny.
I'm
It's like
broke.
I remember when I took this law class and I took like this business law class and advanced business law, all this stuff. But I remember my very first day of class, the little old man, right? Like white hair, like I don't know, probably like 60, 70 years old. I think about like 70 years old. He was pretty old. And the first thing he said in class, he was like, in this class, we sue everybody. So it was like that's the American way, right? Like it don't matter. No, like that's the frame. Imagine, here's my college professor teaching me that, like, hey, you sue everybody. You don't care. Like already, so for all the students, like putting that in your mindset, like it don't matter what happened, like you sue. Like that's the American way, right? Like you sue and that's how it is. And you see it, like that's kind of like, like someone falling on a store too. I've actually known people who told me like, oh, they had relatives that would do that, like just to make money, So it's where they'll go in the store and fall, like, oh yeah, I've had a
I know
relative that did
someone.
that.
I have a close friend whose mom was big on doing that.
Wow.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And they will get away with it.
She got away with it a few times, but tried it on McDonald's. McDonald's handed her a counter lawsuit, and she's like, "All right, I'm
Oh,
done.
wow.
Like, I'm done playing around."
That's crazy.
This is after the whole coffee incident with McDonald's, so they weren't really fucking around anymore.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, people always blame that lady. Like, you know what I'm talking about, the
Yeah,
famous
yeah.
like hot coffee incident.
That they
But
burn themselves. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, what a lot of people don't know is that it was an elderly lady, and she suffered third-degree burns
Oh,
from that. Like,
wow.
she seriously got hurt. And
Oh,
she didn't even want to sue. It was like a lawyer trying to convince her to. McDonald's wanted to give her like something like $500. It was something crazy,
jeez.
and it really was incredibly hot, like ridiculous. And they had a screen graph like her inner thigh and shit.
Wow.
And it was an elderly lady. The story just got blown way out of proportion.
Wow.
Like, I know the real story is kind of gnarly. Like, she really did deserve the money that she sued McDonald's for.
So go ahead, say
Uh,
it. What happened if you remember
well,
the
that's what
story.
like she really it was an elderly woman who burnt the shit out of her inner thigh, and they had to like it's third-degree burns and skin graft right there. I think remember how the story goes is like she didn't want to sue, but somebody convinced her to. McDonald's was willing to give her like $500, something really low, like crazy. And I can't remember. I mean, long story short, I hate saying that, but I just said it. She ended up winning the lawsuit.
Oh, wow.
But she really did get injured pretty bad, like from it. Like,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't a joke, like how bad she got hurt.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think the story just got way blown out of proportion, and like see, they're suing over hot coffee, which is like companies. I remember reading somewhere that companies were just trying to spin that narrative. That way, it could convince us to be like, we're sue happy, so like don't sue. Basically, to get us to not to sue. It was like some companies were spinning that narrative, including McDonald's marketing team. Like,
Well, I mean, because I would see like how do you blame the company, right? Like, because I've dropped I think hot tea on myself, and my stomach, it felt, and I didn't realize it right away. I guess it felt through my shirt, right? I had a shirt on. All of a sudden I felt it burning, and then I threw off my shirt, everything, but it left me like my skin puffed up for like 2 weeks. So I was like, damn. So it was hot. Like, so I get it. Like when you burn yourself.
well, the argument was about the temperature, like how hot they had it. And it has something to be with like they were like it was like a ridiculously hot temperature, like where it didn't really need to be. It could have been like back more, like they had it way too high, basically. That was why they lost the suit. Something to do with that.
So was it all McDonald's or just like that one, or so all McDonald's had to change?
That one I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But I just remember that played a role in it. Was like, where did they have the temperature set? And it was like set like astronomically high, like and it didn't need to be. And that was part of why she won, something to do with that. I don't know the details. I just remember seeing like a slight video about it one time.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
And I was like, oh, that's fascinating. Like it was actually like an old lady, like because they always make in my mind I picture like some young. I remember being like, well, that's your fault, you fuck. And
Yeah.
I guess everything depends on context of the situation, which life's not black and white. I always, and that situation wasn't either. But it also got like the story got spun out of control by other companies because they didn't want people to start suing.
Yeah.
So one of the tactics was to make like everybody think that this is a sue happy country. So we keep repeating that narrative and hopefully we won't sue.
Yeah.
I remember that being like one tactic for our marketing team. Like I'm not saying they started that, but they definitely they used it. They used that tactic. Yeah, I was gonna say like I don't know. That's a tricky one, like suing people, because sometimes it's not fair. Like when you're suing a company and you get away with it. So I mean, that's beyond me. You don't know shit about the law.
No, well, I mean,
people, but I am not a lawyer.
No, like I remember, like I had worked so many jobs or different things that there was a time when, damn, it was like, it felt like every other month I was getting like, oh, like if you want to be part of this lawsuit, they're suing this company, this company, this company. Sometimes I didn't want to sign it because I was like, like I didn't even know what it was about. I don't even know what they're for. Yeah, I didn't even know. Time. But sometimes I wouldn't sign the little thing, and I'd still get like a little. I think the biggest check once I got like $200. I was like, okay, cool. Like, I guess
I got the $200 from Uber once.
That what?
I got $200 once from Uber.
Oh, okay.
Some kind of class. Like I didn't even realize there was one. I was like, all right, thanks.
Yeah, that's what. Because you were working for Uber, or?
No, it's just like something about them like overcharging or something like that.
Oh, okay. So for you using Uber.
For using it.
Wow.
Apparently, like a certain amount of money was lost, or I don't know.
Yeah, so they were overcharging.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, I just had a check.
That's funny. Man, that's crazy. Yeah. Well, what do you call it? Oh, yeah, I don't know. We keep talking about all this other stuff, but it's cool.
Who cares? It's a podcast, conversation.
Yeah. No, I did want to ask you.
It's real, man.
No, for sure.
Just kidding. Yeah.
No, I did want to ask you because I remember one thing too, and you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but I remember too, like when your uncle passed away, like you shared a dream with me that you had, and for me, see, I don't know if it meant anything to you, but to me, it really stood out, right? It was really, I think, because your uncle passed away like within a month after my brother passed away, right?
I think it was almost exactly a month.
A month, yeah, exactly. So, I was in that space, and when you told me about the dream you had, I don't know, really like jumped out at me. I don't know if you mind talking about that, if you remember it.
I'm trying to remember now because I was like, shit, I only remember parts of it now. Like, it starts to dissipate as time goes on, the dream.
Yeah.
But I do remember like it was like an older version of me talking to a younger version of me, like a teenage, maybe 14-year-old-ish me. And my grandmother used to have people over at her house, barbecues and stuff. And that's what was going on. And I was telling the younger version, like I paused everything, like everybody's froze.
Wow.
And I pointed out my uncle, and I was like, you need to spend more time with him because he doesn't last, or something like that.
Wow.
Like because this isn't gonna last like long. Like his life doesn't last as long as you would like it to, or something like that. I don't remember exactly. I was just basically telling my younger self like really take it serious, like the time you spend with him, because knowing what I know now, obviously it's just a dream, but yeah.
No, but still, look it like, yeah. See, like that's why I said, see, to you it was just a dream. To me, because that's too like there's I think I told you about it. There's a guy that has a whole channel based on that, right? Like when people lose someone, like not just that, but either other experiences people have all had. Like it's interesting how, if you see, it's like how can so many people, like when they lose a loved one or go through grief or even have near-death experiences, all experience like these crazy, profound things. Like even me, right? I had a lot of very interesting experiences, like when my brother passed away. But see, even if it, to you, like, see, obviously, it would feel like too late. Like, damn, okay. Like that would have been a good dream to have when you were little, right? Older you
Right.
telling younger you like, hey, make sure you
Well,
appreciate this time, right?
my belief on that is like, because other people have told me like when their family member died, they dreamt about them too, and this is where people kind of disagree with me. That's fine, but it's like my thought is like, yeah, of course, because you're constantly thinking of them. They just died, so of course that's going to enter in your dreams, just like anything. If you keep thinking about it enough times, it'll enter your dreams. When you dream, your brain floods DMT in your brain, which is a what do you call it, hallucinogenic drug that we naturally produce. So I always thought like, well, yeah, of course I thought of that because I'm thinking about that constantly. Then I'm dreaming, which that means there's a DMT flood going on in my head. So the two are tying together, obviously, because I can't get it off my mind. That's what I think is happening.
No, I
personally.
know.
Yeah.
I got you.
But
And
I also believe there might be some sort of spiritual entity, and that's how they communicate it too, though. Like that's just the biological way it happens.
yeah, no, like to me, it's funny because see, this is probably like me and you never really talked too much about the spiritual things because I always notice like you kind of tend to go to logical thinking. And I've experienced that because that's on my dad is like that. Like me and my dad,
Oh, is he?
oh yeah. So we would, but the funny thing is he experienced like I've made a video about this. Like when we moved in to the house I moved into, like right when I started high school. Me and my dad were the only ones that would see this little girl, like a little ghost girl. And he is the most like he's like the most logical person. He doesn't, but even though he's seen it and we talked about it, and he's, like it was even to where once there was this guy building a patio in our backyard and he saw the little girl. He's like, oh, where's the little girl? Like she was just waving to me. And my dad was like, don't tell him because he's not gonna want to finish the damn patio. So he experienced it like we experienced this like together. I don't know why nobody else would see this little girl. I don't know what happened, and now like that's what I should have done. I should have researched because when we moved to the house, the room that
Yeah.
the little girl supposedly was in, the lock was on the outside. So it was like basically like they would lock her in the room. You know what I mean? And the neighbor said she was someone that had like mental disabilities or stuff. Like, so I don't know what happened in the house, whatever. But for some reason, this is like the most skeptical, logical thinking person I've ever met in my life. Like my dad, to where I would be frustrated, like to where I would just stop. I stopped like trying to talk spiritual stuff with him. But yet he's had these experiences. So when I met you, I noticed that about you. Like you're someone that goes to logical. So to me, I don't try to convince people because I already
Oh,
experienced that my whole life. You know what I mean?
right. I've been thinking
So
that way from a very young age.
yeah. And so,
It's like
and I guess he has
weird for a
two.
person that had no parents.
Yeah, because
Like it didn't.
he's
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh no, I was just throwing in some dumb banter. But anyways,
Oh,
go on. Yeah.
no. So it's funny. So, but it's cool. It's made me see. If anything, it's taught me to maybe that part, right? Like interacting with people that are so opposite from you, but being able to get along. See, because I had no choice. So I've
Right.
experienced that.
Oh, so
Yeah,
you
yeah,
kind of have like you're used to it at this
yeah,
point.
yeah.
Like, you gotta, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. I'll give you
No,
an example.
that.
I'm in no way, shape, or form, and I'm not trying to get on this subject. We don't have to. I'm not a Trump supporter, but I had a friend over the weekend who is, and
Oh,
had a fucking awesome time. Uh, my point being is, I don't. You don't have to think like me to be my friend. We don't
yeah,
have to agree on shit to be friends. We just don't.
yeah.
Sometimes it's funner not to, or it's just better. You end up growing more as a person.
That I 100%. You do grow. Well, it's like that. See, imagine like when you had that mushroom experience, and it was like that none of it matters is gonna matter at the end, but like how you said, the good memory. So just picture how much of life you're robbing yourself of the experience because you're like, no, like this is the way it is, and that's that, and you don't get to interact. What if that's all this life is? Us interacting, learning, taking. What if that's the only thing our consciousness takes is like the memories, right? Like, because obviously we don't take the body. We're not gonna take the car. All the people
No.
saying buy a new car, but you're not gonna take the new car. You're not gonna take the body. So what if? Like we don't know. So what if that's all we take is the memories, and you that's it. You just lived in the little box, and you were like, I hate this person because they're this. I don't like this person because they're this, and you didn't get to experience. Like I said, like imagine, like if I would have judged you, even though I think it don't matter. Like you still, like you said, like you were Satanist and all this after, like even my brother passed away. But imagine, out of all the people, the hardcore Christians, is that like you went to my brother's funeral, and my other friend did.
Right.
And so imagine that, like me being a prick and being like, oh, I don't like you because of this or that, or you know what I mean?
Well, I think you're a pretty intelligent guy, and I think you get it, like like what it is that I do. Like, I'm not like killing babies and all. I think you understood that from like the very beginning. Like, that's not what this is. Like,
Yeah.
you seem like a smart enough guy to see through. Like, it's a bit of me being a contrarian.
No, thank you. Like, and it's not even
well, it's totally true about you.
Yeah, no, but see, I don't even think it's more like I don't even see it as being smart. It's more like how do you get knowledge is just experiencing things. So it's just more experience. Like if people haven't taken the time to experience, it's like with the native thing. Like when people will be like, oh, that's of the devil. With people that have indigenous ancestry and they don't realize, and I would invite them. Huh? Go ahead.
No, what you're saying makes me laugh when people say it's for the devil, like other Mexicans or Latinos. Like, oh,
Yeah.
hold on there. That's where we started.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
but it's like when I'll invite them to like a sweat ceremony or something. I've been to there. I'll go with them to their thing. Like even I had an ex that would want to go to church because she thought, I don't know, it's funny. It's like when you think something's gonna fix something and you don't fix yourself, So to her, it was like that kind of indoctrination too. Like, oh well, if we go to church together, I don't know who had told her that. Like if we went to church instead of fixing herself, like so like it was like, oh, we go to church together, we're gonna magically get along. So okay, I'll play the game. Let's go to church, But she was still the same person, so it was like okay. But see, if I would have invited people to like or when I have invited people like, let's go to ceremony or this and that, like nah, they're scared because it's so embedded, right?
I have a situation that just happened to me from a family member of my dad's that's really parallel to your story right now. It just happened the other day, a few days ago. They were trying to invite, like, it's from my dad's side of the family. They were like really into being Christian, born again Christians. I'm not sure why the Catholic thing never got to them, but I digress. He was saying, trying to invite me to the Harvest Fest. I don't know if you know what that is. I've actually been to it before.
Oh, I've seen all the bumper stickers like everywhere.
Yeah, I've been to it before more than once.
Oh, okay.
He's trying to invite me to it. Like I understand your beliefs and blah blah. Like I'm gonna invite you and just teach you about the Word of God. And that always makes me laugh. I'm like, I know this guy in my family. I was like, no offense, man, but I'm pretty sure I know more about the Bible than you. It's not that it's competition, but it's just hilarious that you want to teach me on it. But I just said I'm not interested in learning about it. But he kept pushing the issue. And I said, are you interested at all learning about Satanism? He's like, and he kind of laughs, like, not at all. I was like, now you're starting to understand how I feel now, right? And I was like, because there's a reason I don't contact you and be like, hey, Satan this, Satan that. Would you like to come check out the Satanic Temple? Like, just let me teach you about it. It was just kind of funny. It was like cool for him to like be like, I want to show you all this stuff about Christianity. When I started flipping the script, he was getting uncomfortable that I was talking about it or showing like images of it. And I was like, I just told him that I messaged something paraphrasing here. Like, there's too much one-sided perspective here. Like you're not even interested in seeing it from my perspective at all. You're just interested in showing yours. And I've already seen it. Not impressed.
And did he get it? What you were trying to...
Well, look, we never like argued, though. I'll give you that. We actually had like a pretty civil conversation. It wasn't like really like heated at all. I wasn't heated. He wasn't heated, to his credit. We were both casually talking about it, but no, he was not seeing it like, not interested whatsoever knowing about Satanism. I just asked him if he was, and it was just one-sided. Like he really wanted to share his perspective. I had no interest in sharing my perspective on Satanism, by the way. I was only doing it because I was getting annoyed at first.
Yeah.
I stopped getting annoyed and we just started actually talking about it. But there was just a lot of like, the undertones I got from that conversation was like, well, I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to get you like to come to like Harvest and Christianity. Believe it or not, there's not a salesman good enough in this world that's going to convince me to do that.
That's
It's just
funny.
not gonna happen.
Let me ask
And
you. Oh, go ahead.
I just quoted Samuel Clemens to him, and I moved forward. And
Which
that's
one,
where we
Sam?
ended it. Samuel Clemens is, I'm being pretentious here. That's Mark Twain.
Oh.
It's not his real name. That's why.
No, and that's funny that you said that because
yeah.
I didn't know that until I just seen. Have you ever seen Drunk History?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they had one on Mark Twain, and they're like, "Oh, that wasn't his real name," and he was like, "Oh, Mark Twain." But it's funny because they're saying it all drunk.
It means marking the twain or whatever.
Like, oh, I didn't know that. I don't know. Well, because they're drunk when they're explaining it, so I don't think they said.
Oh,
that.
you're right.
Yeah.
So like I learned it from fucking Pawn Stars.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He said that on a riverboat you would mark like to see like they would have to measure things and there would be like knots on these things and they would call it marking the twain.
Oh wow.
And I guess that's what Samuel Clemens did. So I don't remember why he changed his name. I don't know why. But one of the quotes that he said was like way back then too, like religion began when the first fool met the first con artist, or vice versa.
Oh, wow. That was his quote?
Yeah, I was like, there's a lot of truth to that. I know you could argue, well, you're a member of the Satanic Temple, but it's a non-theistic religion. Once again, like it's more of a political movement than anything than a religion. Like we don't pray and anything like that. Like, or what I'm saying? Like, there's no like. I mean, you could pray if you want. Hell, you believe in Jesus if you want and still be a part of the TST. It's no problem.
No, well, see, like even before, but I think he was actually like part of like into Satanism, like the other one, right? I remember I met a native guy that was like, see, and that's when I had more of the like the stigma, right? I was or thought in that way. I was like,
stigma.
Yeah. So we met on we were working on something on a show or something, and then we got along really good. And he went to native ceremonies. I forgot what tribe he was from, everything. But he was Satanist, and at that time, oh yeah, let's keep in touch, this and that. But I never hit him up because that thing in the head, like it's just like I thought like so like we're not gonna have nothing in common, like we're really not gonna like damn. I thought like at that time like we're too like I don't know, it's just weird to me, right? So I understand. What the hell were you saying? I brought that up for a reason. I forgot what.
I forgot, dude. Fuck.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Oh, what? Since I brought that up, have you had that experience where someone that follows the Church of Satan has been upset with you because how you guys say you don't believe in Satan? Have you ever had that yet, or not?
No, that's never happened to me.
Oh, okay.
But to be fair, I have done what you did, but to the opposite. To be fair to Christians, I've actually done that. Like when they become like, and it's not even because they were proselytizing. They just had to say they were Christian, and I'd be like, fuck that. Like I don't want to be around them. Like they're friends. Like I am guilty of doing the same thing. I stopped doing that when I realized it's just kind of stupid to do that. Like I don't really give a fuck what you believe in. Anybody, I don't care. I care when you start to try to like convince me that no, you got to think the way I think. Yeah. Like you got to see what's going on over here. I've already seen it, dude. I'm good.
No, yeah, no, but you see, like, no, like how you brought that. Like I've done the same thing with Christians too. Like where, like if a girl was trying to talk to me, like like she was interested, it was obvious, and then,
right.
But they were like hardcore Christian, and I didn't know, but it seemed like I didn't want to even take the chance that they were gonna try to push. You know what I mean? That they're gonna try to push.
Well, yeah, I was kind of in that camp too.
Yeah.
Like I knew eventually they're gonna try to like proselytize to me, but I mean it wasn't always true. I have 2 friends that, in my mind, they're like what real Christians are. Like, as they literally play it. They don't do it because there's 2 friends I know personally. They're not doing this out of fear of some place called hell. They're doing it because it's just the right thing to do, and that's what Jesus taught. Like they're legit, like straight up. Those 2 I really respect. Those 2 people.
What?
And the greatest thing ever is they know my stance and they never bring it up to me.
Oh yeah, well, sorry for bringing it.
No, I'm saying like, well, we're having a fucking conversation.
No, I know.
But I mean, like, they don't proselytize to me like, well, like this is why you need to go to church. They just never say anything about it, and I always respected that about them too.
Yeah. So well, let me see. Oh, just real quick, because I had strayed away from the I was gonna try to make a point with when you were talking about like when you're uncle passed away, and how you dream like older you telling younger you. But I think even though like I think for anyone listening now, it will be good advice regardless. Like whether it was how you think, like maybe it was your subconscious, telling you that, bringing you that message, like damn, like, because that's deep, right? Like, because people don't realize, like, that's what it is. Everyone's arguing, blah blah, and we don't even appreciate people that are around us, right? Or stuff like that. Like, we just go buy a new car, this and that. We forget,
It's kind of hard to see the bigger picture of life, like when you're like this close to it, like all the time. An analogy for like,
the phones.
No, I didn't mean the phones necessarily.
Oh,
Just
but
like when you're going through your life, it's kind of like your face is in it, like because
Yeah.
you're doing what you normally do through life and not taking time to like pull back and look at it, the bigger picture. And I understand why people don't do it. There's a lot going on in people's lives.
No, but that's funny how when you said that right now, like the first thing I thought about, because now it wasn't like that when I was little, but now it's like people live even more like that, where everything's
Oh, it's getting worse. Don't get me wrong.
Staring
literally,
at a
quite
tablet.
literally.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we're doing it right now.
Yeah. No, but this is, like
I know, I'm just fucking around.
Because even that, it's funny because like how I said, we were so opposite, but yet like there was a time, I think even in the beginning of the pandemic or something, like you were probably one of the people I was around the most, or even right before that or something, because it was like like when I needed to film something, you'd go with me on my little missions. If you needed something, I'd go with you on your little mission. So it's just like how people like that, being closed-minded, might rob people of interacting with good people you might get along with and stuff. You know what I mean? So
it definitely robs you of opportunities. Growing as a person, period.
Yeah.
I know that because I'm not telling like what these people how they should be, because I was closed-minded. I still can be. I'm just trying to fight it all the time. I'm not a closed-minded person. I'm just saying like sometimes I'll have those thoughts and then like I gotta check myself and be like, that's old Josh. That's dummy thinking.
Do some mushrooms.
Man, that's the thing about mushrooms though. Like if you've never done them, they're not like addicting where it makes you like, yeah, I want to do them all the time. To me, it wasn't. Like I was just like, that was really cool. Like it didn't make me want to like, I want to do this every weekend. For anybody who's afraid of drugs, definitely didn't give me that feeling. Like like alcohol. You'd be like, fuck yeah, let's party again and again and again.
Yeah.
I didn't get that feeling with shrooms.
No, that's good. No, like I've heard so many things. Like people say it even helped their anxiety. There's so many things like I've heard about mushrooms, because I've never tried them. I've never done them, but I'm sold
this
on.
This is the first year I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Up until then, I was always like scared of doing it.
Well, I've been to other ceremonies, and oddly enough, I didn't really experience what some people do, right? Like, I don't know, maybe I didn't take enough or something, but I didn't have that experience. I just had after very like lucid dreams and all that stuff, but in the moment, like I didn't have like, yeah, because I was worried even like, oh man, I'm gonna start puking, I'm gonna this, I'm gonna that, and nothing. So it was good, but I did have very lucid dreams after. So it's still, I don't know if it was because of that or just because of me being in a ceremony setting or what, but whatever. Like, it's like I think, what is it? The peyote or I think it's the peyote that like the indigenous people would call it like the eye to the soul or something like that. So even like that, calling them drugs, I don't feel it is justice to them, because it's like medicine. To indigenous people, it's all medicine. It comes from a plant. It's not like how you say like beer or freaking fentanyl that kills people and whatever.
I was about to say, it's funny though, the government will call fentanyl medicine.
Yeah, that's how it started, right? Because I don't even know about
it's medication.
And what, it just went crazy and people started like, how do people overdose on it? Like, how do they?
Oh, it's like it's hyper addicting. I've heard. I don't know much about it other than what I've heard here and there, which is the reason why. Well, I was never really big on coke, anyways, but it's the reason why I won't touch it, because you don't know what the fuck's floating out there.
Oh, yeah.
I just know it's like an opiate that's like highly addictive and super dangerous. But I remember it had something to do with patent laws, like pharmaceutical companies. Actually, it's more the insurance companies. Where I can't remember what it was. Like they said that what's the other one? Oxycontin, I believe, or Vicodin, I think. Valium
Oh,
became
God.
kind of like it became illegal, and like this was what replaced it or something like that. And then like they were like, no, this isn't addicting at all.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, and it's like hyper addicting. It
Yeah,
was all about money. Long story. I said it again. Uh,
yeah.
Look, let me explain to people why I don't like that. Because when you say long story short, you literally just made it longer by adding that sentence.
Oh,
That's why
that's
I'm
funny.
frustrating at myself. It's a stupid thing with me. But it had to do with like patent laws and money at the end of the day. Like that's what it was about, which killed a lot of people, and no one's paying for it.
Wow.
And dude, even police officers are overdosing just from touching it.
Yeah, I've seen some videos. Like,
Fucking
that's
nuts.
pretty. I actually felt bad. Like, I remember I
Well, dude, if
seen
they didn't need another thing to worry about, it's like now you can't even fucking touch something. Like,
yeah, that's
this whole thing's
insane.
crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was asking then. How is it? I'll look it up. I'm sure there's
I don't know,
documentaries
dude.
on
Like,
it.
it's beyond me.
Yeah, because I mean, how is it that they use it as a pharmaceutical, whatever medicine supposedly, and then that other one that people barely touch, and I don't know what if is one just because it's concentrated or something, and the other one it's
I have
smaller
no idea.
doses, or yeah, I'll look it up. It's fine. But
I have friends who I'm not, of course, I'm not gonna say who, but I know people who do coke, and I'm always like, dude, man, you guys are fucking flirting with, dancing with the devil there, or dancing
yeah.
with Jesus in my case.
Yeah,
See, the roles are flipped. I'm just
yeah.
kidding,
I,
but
I I saw what you did. That's
I
funny.
know.
Um,
I'm joking. I actually don't believe Christians are my enemy. I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
believe anybody's my fucking enemy.
No,
Just
me
piss me
neither.
off.
I get it. See, that's why I understand, because I think people just don't understand. Even that, right? Me being like, I could say, oh, I'm a spiritual person, this, that, all this and that. But anybody, it's funny. I think they do that on, have you ever seen that movie, Anger Management?
Yeah, I don't
Where,
remember much of it, but I have seen it.
well, when Adam Sandler goes and then there's that guy that's, I guess, a Buddhist, but then he starts fighting Adam Sandler because Adam Sandler is like attacking him. So he starts attacking him back. I don't know, but they end up fighting, right? Even though he's a Buddhist or whatever. It's like, no matter who you are,
Yeah.
like, you can only take so much. And I think that's the whole thing.
Well,
Like, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say at the end of the day, like the Satanism thing, the Buddhism, most of it are just veneers. It's not really who we are.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
That we're still human beings behind all this. I've seen video of a monk holding somebody hostage with an AK in their hand.
Oh, wow.
I'm
That's
not even
crazy.
kidding. I've seen video of that.
Yeah, I
I mean,
haven't.
because he fucking lost it, dude. Like,
Yeah. That's
of
insane.
course, you're still a human being.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like that saying, a human being, like,
Yeah.
just being, right? And when someone not letting you be, like, you lose it, like, we're supposed to be humans being, whatever, experiencing stuff.
Yeah.
And when someone's like trying to force their will, I think it's natural to, to kind of rebel, I guess.
That's a old saying. Force forward is force in return.
Uh, yeah, that's a good saying. No, yeah.
It's like,
So
you're gonna get pushback almost always.
yeah. I mean, one or the other. I think that even unfortunately, like, when you see kids that get bullied, right? Either you finally fight back, or there's even people that'll take their lives. They just can't take it. So that's the sad part. See, I guess that's why I'm so anti-bully, because that is a form of bullying, where someone's just like nonstop, just because they feel they have the louder voice, right? Well, there's more of us. We can't be wrong. There's, look how many of us we are, so we have to be right. So I just can't stand
Well,
bullies, right? And that's a form of bullying to me.
it is because it's just when I was a Christian, our understanding was that, like, it's because it's our job to save your soul, basically. So that's why we have to be that way. Which is really whoever's at the top. It's like more people means more money in the
Yeah.
church. That's for every church, really. Even for the Satanic Temple. The only difference is they're really blunt about it. Satanic Temple.
What, they'll ask for money or what?
Yeah, but they're blunt about it. Like, this is what it's for. Like,
Oh.
we're not saying it's because, it's the greater good of Satan or whatever. It's just because we have this political cause, we need lawyers, and this is how much it costs. And because the Satanic Temple has lobbyists, just like other Christian groups do.
Inside, like, the politics and all that.
Yeah, we've become what do you call it, tax exempt status now, and the whole nine.
Oh, wow.
The reason for the lobbyists, it's like that's the only way to fight like certain laws that are like, I guess in our minds, that are insane. I don't really fall too much into that because I really don't like getting political, period. Yeah. Even though this sort of is a political movement group, but I just show my support from a distance, man. I don't want to get in the middle of the cut of all that.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I feel you. No, that's cool then. Wow. Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, thank you. Unless you want to talk about anything else.
I can talk all day if I didn't have other shit to do.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, just like I don't know if you heard, but my stomach's been growling too every once in a while.
Mine too. I'm fucking hungry.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, like we'll cut it. It's time to go eat. But nah, man, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I gotta go eat a baby.
Now we'll people are gonna take that literal. Watch, I bet you anything.
Well, people are stupid if they do.
No, but yeah, no, damn, man, we'll do this again. You know, just for anyone listening, like I am planning to start because even that, right? Like, see, that goes on character, right? Like you came on the podcast. You know, there's been people across, you know, I've invited Christian people, Native people that flake it, you know what I mean? And that, you know, all these different people that have flaked it and won't, you know, they just don't. So to me, character is always important, right? Like it's always, to me, like treating people how, you know, like based on their character rather than whatever label has always been important. But what I was going to say was, you know, obviously I want to start a podcast. Like, I feel like the spiritual, there's only like so much, like, or it's been, for me, it's been like, you know, headbutting against the wall, like even certain people that we were supposed to do a podcast and they changed their mind, or they don't want to talk about, they're not ready to talk about this spiritually or this and that. So, you know, just, I might start that, most likely, you know, start a podcast about pretty much everything, right? So it doesn't just have to be spiritual. And of course, you know, it'd be great to have you on there. So hopefully we can do this again. And we don't just have to talk about. Go ahead.
It's just weird delay. It's coming on my end. Every time I talk to you, we talk for a long ass time.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, like pretty much every conversation we've had could be a podcast, and we've said that, right? Like, damn, this could have been a podcast. You know?
But I also flaked on you too. But that was like out of character for me. I had a situation happen. But anyways,
no, that was 100% understandable. That's different, you know, than someone just like, you know, man, I'm not gonna get into it because I mean, you know, but at least the like, it's really not singling anyone out, because there's been enough people that did it to where some people even agreed to it and then just never replied after. Like, so it was like, you know, people that I knew and then people that I didn't, like, I just met, like, you know, asking, hey, would you mind like doing an interview? And they were like, oh yeah, I'd love to. And then never heard back. Or they even told me, could we talk about this? Sure. And then never heard back. So there's so much. I don't know if it's just with the spiritual thing, but you know, I have so many things that I could make a podcast about that I rather just go, you know, to something more open, right? More just like, you know, I want to talk about just everything.
Anything
right?
goes.
Yeah, anything goes kind of thing. So hopefully, you know, I'll get that started, and you know, you could come on there and we'll talk and all that stuff. So, you know what I mean? But thank you. Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah. So I don't want to keep you no more. I know we're both hungry, so just thanks a lot for coming on, and it was a pleasure.
Yeah, this is cool, Mark.
All
right. We'll do it again.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Yeah, it's definitely cool.
Okay.
All right, dude. I'll talk to you probably later.
All right. Talk to you.
See ya.
All right.
See you, everybody.
All right, later. All right, peace.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, sometimes you just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You just feeling it. And I want to feel this way forever.